Hello and welcome to what's new in Microsoft 365 and Copilot for January 2025. I've got updates for Copilot, Outlook, SharePoint, Teams, and a few from around 365. Go and have a look at the webpage though, folks. There is so much more to read than what I cover here. Okay, just a quick word to the people who look after Evergreen for their organizations. If you create a slide deck, you can buy this one. It's unbranded, has simple animations, no transitions, links to the full update, which makes great speaker notes. So go and have a look at the top bar, go and have a look at memberships, or go and have a look at the notes for the video and find out more and see how you can buy this slide deck and save yourself maybe a couple of days. Okay, so let's start with Copilot. Our first story is the ability to incorporate third-party data from graph connectors in biz chat prompts. Now, this is one that your organization is going to have to help you with. Look on the screen there, you can see some other changes coming to the chat box. So you can see there that a lot of that is new, and this option here, Other, can take you to some of the third-party connectors which your IT department have set up for you. So it might be that you've got data or information in something other than Microsoft 365. You can now get to that as part of Copilot. Folks, due late February to early March, but like I say, you will need help from IT for that one. Okay, the ability to ground M365 Copilot prompts in SharePoint and OneDrive. So when you're writing Copilot prompts in the chat box, you'll soon be able to point it or ground your prompt at specific SharePoint and OneDrive folders. You can see on the left hand side there, or SharePoint sites. So look at that, you can see on that screen, a bit like the last screen, there is some new features coming to the prompt box. It's like they're making it just a little bit easier. You don't need to remember everything it can do because those tabs across the top, and you can see those new icons, they're going to help you out. Folks, due mid to late February 2025. Next up, we've got Copilot. Use Copilot to create meeting notes directly on a OneNote page. So the new Take Notes with Copilot feature is coming to OneNote. So it allows you to create meeting notes directly on the OneNote page. You can see on there on the screen, if you have a closer look, you can see that right in there I can create notes. I can create meeting notes. I can direct it straight to a meeting and pulling information right from the canvas, but not just information from the meeting, but I can pull other stuff in as well. But there you can see I can use documents, messages, and emails. Folks, check that out from mid-January to late March. Okay, a few more bits from around Copilot. So the ability for Copilot to read aloud is available in Microsoft 365, and the ability to dictate your prompts. I know that there's other ways to use Windows to dictate, but this has been baked straight into the chat area. Now, I really like this, both of these, folks. So on a large trial that I was on last year, so from the summer towards Christmas, one of the things that came out was the accessibility and usability benefits of using Copilot. And one person even said they are considering moving away from their accessibility software because Copilot is so good and so useful. Combine that with some of the features in Edge, like the read aloud and the other things that are in Edge. Now you add these two on, and folks, that's £30 a month is going to get better and better value, not just for everyone, but thinking about the different parts of your community that would benefit from this. So both of those due in February. Oh, one more. Copilot forms. Copilot can now help you collect responses from your forms. So this is interesting. So this is, remember folks, all of these, look at the icon. These are all from the roadmap. The telescope tells you it's a little bit further out. This is during March. Now this means that Copilot can work with forms and help you to chase up responses and help you manage the form. Now I'm guessing that's going to need some Power Automate as well, but when that gets off the roadmap and it gets into the message center, I'll tell you more about it. Okay, this time we are moving on. So we're going to Outlook now. Customize folder icon colors in the new Outlook for the web. So you can see here that we can hover over the folder. We can then select the three-dot menu, and then we select change color, and then we choose a color. And you can see on the left hand side from my inbox, I have selected red. And what's interesting, when you're in the inbox, the icon changes ever so slightly. I know it does it at the moment, but you don't really notice it because of the lack of color. But that is, for the visual amongst us, I think that is pretty nice. If you want to take it off, you just go for all that again and just choose automatic, and it takes that selected color off. Folks, that's available from late March, but I already see that in the early release tenant that I've got. So that's, I figure, like, the reason I mention that is that once you see it in early release, you know that it's coming along. So folks, the rest of us should have that in Outlook, New Outlook and Web from late March. Okay, so Copilot to offer a continue to Outlook option when setting up a meeting. So you can see on the screen here that we've asked Copilot to find some time with someone, and it has. And now it's saying it offers this button to continue to Copilot, and then from Copilot itself, you can then it will then set up that meeting. So Copilot's found a time slot with someone, and it's sorted out for you, and now you can go off to Outlook and you can set that up. Obviously, a Copilot. Well, not obvious actually. When I think about some of the changes coming to Copilot agents in group chats, for example, and I think Microsoft are going to sort of tease out more and more features to people who haven't got a license to get you to ask your boss for a license. So maybe that it is important that I still call that out. A Copilot license is required for this, and that is available late January. Okay, in case you missed it, prepare for your meeting with Microsoft 365 Copilot and Outlook. So here you can see that we've got a meeting that we're coming to, and I'm saying that I want to prepare for my meeting. So I click on it, and you can see here that then it looks at the any pre-reads, any documents that are attached, the notes, the agenda. Now you won't see the button if there's no assets, there's nothing for it to read. But I think that looks great, folks, especially if you're maybe, I don't know, you don't have a lot of time between meetings. Quickly do that, and it'll give you a good overview for the meeting. That is from late January to late February. Okay, so wrapping up with Outlook. Outlook name change. So a while ago we talked about Outlook as in the one that's on your computer that you've been using for half a decade. That's been rebranded Outlook Classic. Took me a second. Outlook Classic. While the new Outlook is now just going to be called Outlook. So that's going to start coming through February. So you're just going to, when we say Outlook, so it's, for people like me, you need to be careful, because when I say Outlook, most people don't think New Outlook or Outlook Web. They're thinking about the old Classic, so maybe you need to be a little bit careful for a while. Anyway, name change is coming along. Use Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, to quickly see who's in the office. So that's been a little bit delayed. Look at that icon. The little clock tells you it's been delayed. So in Outlook, in New Outlook and Outlook Online, top right hand corner, this will be coming along. Some people have it. I have it in one tenant, but for the rest of us, we should have it by early February. And summarize email attachments with Copilot. I quite like this. So it gave a whole list of types of attachments that it can summarize for you. So it can you've got an email. Instead of just summarizing the email, you can get it to summarize all the attachments as well. I think that is going to be epic. Now look at the icon. It's the telescope, which tells you that it's from the 365 roadmap, and you probably can't trust that date. When it comes onto the 365 message center, I'll tell you more about it. But there you go, there's Outlook wrapped up. Folks, let's see what we've got for the SharePoint people. So SharePoint Hero web part gets a new carousel, so you can have up to 5 slides. So you can build slides that go into the carousel. It offers these 3 new styles of slides, or just images, or what we want to call them. The first point calls them slides, so we're going to stick with that. So I've got 3 options for designing and building these slides, and a call to action. It's not very clear on that screen. If you just zoom in a little bit and squint, you can see that just under that big text, and then under the body text, there's a little button there, so you can say learn more, or read more, or sign up now, or whatever, and people can click on it and go and do something. Support stream videos. Now I don't know how this is going to look, folks. I'm guessing you just in your slide point out a video, it will show the thumbnail, and I'm guessing you could watch that video from inside there, or would you have to click it and it pops out? I don't know yet. But looks super interesting. Some nice changes to the hero web part. And it was due mid-January, so you might already have that. SharePoint pages get flexible sections. So when I built this this slide, folks, I didn't have it in my tenant for the screenshots. Some people online have got them, so maybe if this is really important to you, you'll be able to get screenshots somewhere else. Anyway, SharePoint and Viva Amplify editors can soon use this new option called Flexible. So when you're adding a section, you'll see this option to have Flexible. You can drag and drop web parts anywhere on the grid, not just in, so thinking about what you normally do, you add a section, you choose how many columns it's going to get, but you can drag and drop them anywhere, and it's going to snap to a grid. I'm just thinking about all the pages that I create. I just can't wait for this. You can resize the flexible sections. And then once you've got your web parts on there, you can adjust the size of those. For those of you who are more creative than SharePoint normally lets you be, I think you're going to really like this, folks. Due mid-March to late April 2025. Okay, so sticking with what's good for creative SharePoint page editors, new web part for pages and new posts called the editorial card, and this lets you manually tailor what you're showing to what you want, showcase content in apparently an engaging card format, and access advanced background and content feature settings. Again, I haven't seen this one yet myself. Looking forward to it. On the toolbox over on the right hand side, this new web part called Editorial Card. And when I shared this on social media, it went down really well. So I'm guessing a lot of people are going to like it. Folks, mid to late February. SharePoint gets an accessibility assistant tool. So you might be used to that little tiny skinny bar on the right hand side, where we've got a toolbox in there, we've got other stuff. Well, we're getting an accessibility assistant icon. When we select that icon, it then provides checks and brief guidance and helps us out with our page. And once we've fixed those items, you can see on the right hand side, I've got nothing else to fix. I think for those of us who mean well, but we don't always know what we should do right, like PowerPoint helps you, Word helps you. For those of us who mean well and we want to do the right thing by all our colleagues, I think this is going to be so useful. You can see there we can use it on, you can't use it on all parts of your page. So the banner, the text web part, image, hero, and your quick links. But it's a start, and I bet everything else will come to that as well. So well done Microsoft for that. Early to mid-February. Okay, let's start wrapping up SharePoint. A preview for pages, and notice you no longer have to publish it to see how it really looks. You can, or stop editing it. You can preview pages and news that you create during March. But again, look at the icon, folks. That's the telescope. That means it's from the 365 roadmap. Do not trust that date. Okay, and if it rocks up in December, don't blame me for that. I also have to be careful with some of those dates, but June, March, yeah, we'll see. A delay, it's got a clock, so it's delayed. Filter search results by messages. So we're in SharePoint, we've done a search, and we're going to get that option there to see our results that are in our messages. Now, I think you're seeing more and more of this, aren't you? Microsoft are trying to bring your search results to wherever you are. So wherever you happen to be doing your search, then it's going to bring as much as possible to you. You don't have to go to your messages, then search, or this place and then search. Wherever you happen to be searching, it will bring more and more to you. So that's another example of that. January to late March. Okay, let's move on to Microsoft Teams. Teams meetings chat to show who owns the meeting recording. So by default, it will be for a regular meeting that you set up, it'll be in the organizer's inbox. But what if, for whatever reason, it's not? There are some circumstances when it's not. Or what if you don't know who that person is? You can see there, we've got details of the meeting, got the recording, but it's explicitly telling me who that is. It's telling me who the person is and where it is saved. I think that is going to be really useful. Due mid to late March 2025. Teams is getting a new microphone volume indicator, and this, you'll see a quote in a minute, folks, that made me smile. So I think it's useful. New mic volume indicators being added to the Teams meeting mic control. So I click on the drop down. I'm in a meeting. I just want to see what my mic's like. I do the drop down and it shows me that my mic is working. It shows real-time visual feedback on how loud it is and how it's going to be heard in your meeting. And Microsoft, and I had to quote this, I think this is going to help in eliminating the need to ask, can you hear me? So I'll be interested to see whether that ask stops, whether people use this feature and stop saying to everyone in a meeting, can you hear me? Anyway, late March to late April this year. Edit your display name in Microsoft Teams meetings. How many times have you been in a meeting and you've spoken to someone? I always use people's full name. Say if you've got a Christopher, I'll always call them Christopher until I know that I can use something more informal. And the amount of times that it's Chris, it's Jan, it's Sue. Now, wouldn't it be great in your meeting for that person who is tired of having to tell people what to call them, just to be able to change their name in the meeting? Anyway, that's coming. Slightly, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm a bit surprised it's off by default. It might make, if you're an admin, it might make more sense to you, but as someone who's more end user focused, I was a bit surprised this is off by default. But your organization can turn it on for everyone or for select users. Maybe it's somewhat that, maybe this becomes a help desk request. It's like in the catalog and people can ask for it and then it goes through, then IT turn it on. I don't know. Anyway, the meeting organizer must also enable it. They don't want you changing your name, do they? But it comes up and it shows you that your name has been changed. Now, in the meeting assets, like the transcript or the attendee list, it has the original name, so it's not showing it's not showing the changed name. So I'm not quite sure why they've been so cautious with this. Anyway, doesn't matter. I hope your organization lets you use this and your meeting organizers know about it, and hopefully you're using that from mid-March to early April. Okay, next we have use Copilot agents in Microsoft Teams group chats. So you can think of these agents as like a mini Copilot, and maybe you've got this group chat for the XYZ project. You've got loads of stuff in there, so someone can create this mini Copilot or this agent that maybe covers off the main questions that get asked, or the main things that would be good prompts. Anyway, so it gets added. You have it in your chat. People can add it. No Copilot license required. Go to that new updated group chat participant control in the top right hand corner, bit of a mouthful, and select add agents and bots. Folks, due early to mid February 2025, but it's going to require your organisation to let you use agents. Hopefully they will. Hopefully you got someone in your team that can set that up for you, but that's going to be a nice little taster of Copilot agents in group chats and no license required. Add a loop workspace tab to standard channels in Microsoft Teams. So everyone in the team can have access to a loop to the loop workspace. So you think about, so I'll try to simplify this. Imagine you're adding you add Planner to Microsoft Teams. Everyone in the team can access it. It'll be a tab on one of your channels. Being a member of the team gives you access to it. It's controlled by all the governance, lifecycle, everything to do with your team. And then when someone leaves the team, they lose access to that planner, wouldn't they? Well, look at the screen now. This is going to be the same for these loop workspaces. So it adheres to the membership, the governance, the lifestyle. I think this is great. So instead of having another thing to manage, this is going to come into your team. And if someone's in your team, they can use it. And if they're not, or they leave, then they can't. I think that sounds great. I'm not going to go into Loop because Loop is not is not a quick chat. Yeah, we're not going to go into it. But if you know what Loop is, this looks quite exciting. Due February 2025. Okay, new tag mentions filter for the activity feed. So users will soon have the new tag mentions filter. So when you go into your activity feed, you know that you can look at, for example, your unread or your mentions. Well, what if you have your tags? Your tags is a big part of where you work. I know lots of places do use them, and you've been mentioned, one of your tags has been mentioned. I think this is another great way to filter your work. So you're coming after a couple of weeks off, you're getting up to date on your activity feed. I would start with @mentions because that's if someone said my name. I need to read something or do something. But then these tag mentions is probably the next place I would go. I think it looks great. As you can see, the app mention is still going to show there, but we've got this new tag mentions in your activity feed. Folks, due February 2025. Okay, the way you add... So I want you to suspend disbelief for a second when I go through this, because this is one of those funny updates that hasn't really ended up in the admin center. It doesn't seem to be. There's something weird about it. It's appeared in my tenant that I use privately, and is on early release. Other people have noticed it, but I can't find anything about it in the admin center. Some people have complained about it online, but this looks like it's coming. But I gotta be honest, I kind of hope it doesn't. But it looks like it's coming. But the details are a bit sketchy. Anyway. The way you add tabs to Teams channels is changing. After this change, you'll no longer see that add a tab. But you have a little plus sign that's to the right of the last tab. That's going away. And we're getting this new apps symbol. You know that the 4 cubes, one's on its side. The apps icon is coming to the top right corner. So this is an actual screenshot from my tenant. So you can see that's letting me know that the change has happened. It opens a new side apps panel to the right hand side, and in there, this bit I quite like when we get to this point. But for me, having to, what's the benefit to the gazillion people who already know how to add it the other way? I don't really know, because when we go one step further, when we select an app, then the previous screen appears. You know, the pop-up window when you configure, for example, the website tab or app now. So yeah, maybe it might be that this is to facilitate some other change which is coming further down the line. I'm guessing that because I can't see any big advantage on its own. So maybe this is happening before something else. But really odd. So rolling out to early release now, it seems to be. I can't find anything else about it. So when that lands in the admin center, if it does, then I'll revisit it, folks, and I'll tell you about the dates. Okay, let's start wrapping up Teams. Skin tone actions are coming to reactions and emojis in Microsoft Teams. So I'm only flagging this because I talked about it so long ago. I don't know where this has been getting created or where it's been. Anyway, it's probably available for you now. So I see it everywhere that I work, and it just means that if you don't be represented by yellow anymore, then you can choose your skin tone. So folks, go and have a look in the settings, and you should be able to go and change that now. Okay, a new calendar experience is coming to Teams. So this seems to have rolled out everywhere where I am. People say it's a little bit shocking when they first see it, when they try it on. It's like, ooh, yeah, but folks, it is so much better. There's a couple of little kinks when it first came out, but that seems to be ironed out. If you haven't shared this with your colleagues, they don't know it's coming. They might say not now. They might not try it. But folks, definitely worth a look. So think about all the good things that you've heard about Outlook. What am I trying to say? New Outlook, or just Outlook, and Outlook on the web. So all the new stuff, what's been coming to the calendar there. So being able to create in-person meetings, following meetings, all that sort of stuff. That is now available in Teams, and on the whole, everyone who's seen it really likes it. Okay, delayed. Microsoft Teams is getting a new chat and channels experience. So this is where all your channels are coming into your chat area. I particularly like the ability to make custom sections. You can see there the Alexander project in there, in the middle. So think about where your information is. You might have some in a chat. You might have some in a regular meeting chat. You might have some in a group chat that you have about the Alexander project, maybe the SLT. You might have a channel. And you have to go to all these places to keep up, right? Or you can create this new section in here, and you can have all those in one place. That, I think, is epic. I personally, you know what, I'm looking for a file. This is when I struggle with this. I'm looking for a file. I would normally go to a chat, to on the left hand side, to Teams, then go to my team, to a channel, and then go on the Files tab. And this is obviously quicker, but I still find that a bit clunky. My mind hasn't got used to not doing that old path. But on the whole, folks, I like it. It's optional, so if your users don't like it, they can switch between the two and try. But folks, been pushed back to March to early April, so lots of time to get your colleagues ready for that. Okay, let's see what's happening around Microsoft 365. Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint are getting a new homepage. So the app launcher and some other places where you go to Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, for example, that page is changing. You can see the one in the back. This is mine, but both of these are mine when I flick between the two. So you can see the difference for the same account and the same information. I really like these pages, folks. Lots of teams. When I work with teams who are getting used to Microsoft Teams, or they want to help their collaborative working, they often say their stuff is all over Microsoft 365. I'll often set up a channel called Microsoft 365 or My M365, and across the top the tabs will go to things like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, their tasks in Planner, OneNote as well. So all of their OneNotes across an organisation. The thing I like about this is people often say, I can't find a Word document, but if you add these to a channel, say tabs at the top, when someone clicks on Excel, for example, it will show them every single Excel spreadsheet they've opened that's in Microsoft 365 for the last two years or so. Might go back even further depending on the app that I'm looking at. Anyway, let's get back to this. So it's getting a new page, and I have to say, on the whole, I do like it. I've had a look at it, I've had a look at both, and I can't see any downside to this. It might be that something that maybe we don't like something, but at first glance, I can't see any downside. Be aware that the URL or the address of it is changing, so you need to know about that. The old ones will work for a while, but if you've got people going directly to Word, Excel, or PowerPoint online using URLs, a bit like I've described I do, then maybe there's a little bit of work there for you to do. Folks, mid-March to late April, but you'll already see it. If you want to try it, go and have a look at this story on the blog. I've got all of the new addresses that you can go and try. You click on it, and it might ask you to sign in. So you just in your tenant, you just sign in with your work account, and then you can try that, and you can see all of your work stuff in the new layout. It looks great. Okay, let's start wrapping this up. The Microsoft 365 app gets a name change and more. That's live now. So the Microsoft 365 app has become the Microsoft Copilot app. I don't think I've heard anyone say anything good about it, if I'm honest. For those of you, especially if you know me personally, you know that I'm generally glass 3/4 full, right? But this one, I don't know, I just don't get it. So the fact that any Copilot enabled stuff on the left hand side appears in there, they could have done that before. I don't really get this. Anyway, just make sure that your users are aware of that. Microsoft Clipchamp. Again, this is it's got a telescope, so it's a bit further out. Editor simplification and introduction of light mode. So if I have nothing else to use, right, in the workplace, I will use Clipchamp. But for some reason, I can't get on with it when I'm editing. So just personally, when you watch this, I've edited this in the very latest version of Camtasia, because in Clipchamp, when I'm trying to take little bits out, you'll see a little glitch maybe a few minutes ago where I coughed, and I'll go in and take that out, and because it's between words, I have to get it down to the fraction of a second to get it right, and I really struggle with Clipchamp and that. So for my personal stuff, I've moved away from Clipchamp and I've gone back to Camtasia. I've gone back. If you're interested in Camtasia, by the way, folks, if you go and check out the notes, I've got an affiliate link in there which will take you to it. So I get a tiny commission. It helps pay for the website and all this other stuff. But I personally, I'm done with Clipchamp. But in the workplace, you know what? It's great because that's all you've got. Anyway, editor simplification coming your way if you find the editing process a little bit much. Okay, so we're done, folks. So remember, a couple of options for keeping up. On the left hand side there, you can see all my free options for keeping up. So we've got X, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, the podcast today. Go and check out the blog. Sign up for the newsletter, so once a month you'll be told when this is done. If you want to be a little bit closer, You can see there we've got the Update Insiders subscription. So it means that every single page that I do, every article I do, gets delivered to your inbox, and you can read it inside your email. I particularly like this because the Great Big Page can be overwhelming. So much happens, and this just drip feeds. It's like micro learning, isn't it? So every day, a couple of times a day, you'll get one of these an update come through. And it's just like a little bit of bite-sized learning. It also means that you can read the roundups. So these roundups are only available once they're finished, but if you're an insider, you can see them as they develop and all the new stuff at a glance, and you can comment. If you want the slide deck, remember folks, you can get the slide deck. That also, if you subscribe for the slide deck, you also get the Update Insiders. But now, folks, we come to an end. Go check out at SuperSimple365 and all the socials, and you'll be able to find the content. Hopefully that's helpful, and I'll see you next month.